Frigates were generally faster and more manoeuvrable than ship of the line, so we're well positioned to avoid contact with their much larger sisters on the water. And it's my understanding that even in naval battles where there were numerous ship of the line and frigates, ship of the line wouldn't engage frigates directly unless they were engaged by them. And in this video here, I'm going to show why that convention existed, I think, by having a ship of the line engage a frigate. And the two ships we're using are the two ships from the base set, the French ship of the line Aquilon and the British frigate HMS Meleager. And you can look at the broadside of the Aquilon undamaged as 7, and the Meleager is not a shoddy number at 4. So yeah, we're going to see now exactly why frigates tended to avoid, like the plague, direct contact with the ship of the line. It's a southwesterly wind, and the French is beating into the wind, and the frigate is reaching, and the captain's realised his terrible mistake and is about to try and extricate himself and his crew, but it's too late, and both ships are at battle sails. So we'll move the frigate first, and the ship of the line. The crew on both deck can see the whites of the eyes of their opposing crew. Just checking the range, they're both within the broadside central firing arc in the B counter range. Both ships are loaded with normal ammunition, ball ammunition. Both have been given orders to fire a broadside. They're out of musket range. So the Meleager is going to fire a broadside, it's right broadside, and the Aquilon is firing its right broadside. And remember, the Aquilon's firing at 7 and the Meleager at 4. And we'll see what transpires. Okay, we're drawing from the B cup because the range was in the B portion of the ruler. So I've gone ahead and I've drawn out the 7 damage counters that the HMS Meleager has to deal with, and the 4 that the ship of the line are taking. And let's start with the ship of the line and see what's come out. Oh, straight away it's taken a good hit of 4 and a crew damage, another crew damage, another hit of 4. The British are firing well despite the odds, and a 3. So pretty good firing by the British. So let's put those on the Meleager's board straight away. Okay, so it's got a burden of 5, so the first one will go to there for 4. Because that hasn't been reached, the next largest one will go there, and that'll also add a crew damage, so that takes the first slot, and we'll put a crew damage marker. The second one is a 3, the burden of 5 hasn't been reached, so the second one goes on there, and that's another crew damage marker. The British have got some fight in them. And let's take a look at the damage that the broadside from the British has done. 3, 0. Can they escape? 3, and a fire has broken out. 4, damage to the hull, there's a leak. 3, this is getting dangerous. 4, and 2 with 2 crew killed. Okay, let's see how that affects the British frigate as opposed to the ship of the line. Okay, let's assign the damage to the Meleager. And with a burden of only 2, this is going to be painful. So first up, the counters are placed in order of damage. A 4 goes there. It exceeds the burden of 2, so it takes out that block, and they cop a leak in the hull. The next 4 exceeds the burden and takes out the second slot. The 3 exceeds the burden, takes out the next slot, and so on. And another 3 and a fire breaks out on the British frigate. And a 2, which equals the burden, so takes out the next slot, and 2 crew members removed, and finally the 0 goes down here. So let's have a look at this. After one broadside, the British frigate is down to 1 shot from its broadside and front and rear arcs. Crew has been slightly damaged. It's got fire raging. It's got a leak in the hull, whereas the Aquilon suffered a couple of good hits by the British, are still at a strong 6 strength broadside. They've taken some crew damage, but are in pretty good shape. And this British frigate isn't going to survive the next round at all. If the ship had taken sail damage or mast damage or rudder damage, it may have been a sitting duck, but as it stands, it probably could limp away at this stage. But I think that gives you an indication as to why a British frigate would never engage a ship of the line, and or why a French or Spanish frigate wouldn't engage a ship of the line as well. Hope you enjoyed that little excerpt from Sails of Glory, which I'm still solo playing and liking more and more.